Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are looking for forever homes at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea, the Division Director. With me is long-term volunteer Randy Cooper. And the first little pet we're going to look at is Bella. Bella came to us previously owned. She is absolutely adorable, and as you can tell, she's definitely a lap dog. She is about 4 years old. She was turned in because her family was moving and unable to take her along. She is very social once you get to know her. She does have a little cage braveness to her, so when you approach her cage, she does what we consider the normal barking behavior. She's not sure about strangers, but other than that, you can tell she just is fine with people. She is treat responsive, so, and according to her profile, this is kind of, well, sort of cute. Her owners we always ask, what brand of dog food does your dog eat? And they've got down that she'll eat anything. So probably feeding her anything is not a good idea. You want to make sure that you put her on a consistent diet. But we've noticed already that she's very responsive to treats. She knows how to sit. She's relatively well-mannered and definitely a good girl. We do have her slated for older children and adult home only. And the reason really is just to protect her. She is only about 12 pounds, so she's small. Chihuahuas can easily get a little mistreated or unintentionally by kids that are overenthusiastic with toy breeds. So you want to make sure that if you do have children in your family and you're interested and you have dog experience, that's up for conversation. But from our perspective, she would do best in a family with older children or just adults. So while it's hard to believe that this guy is still in the shelter, he's been here just about a week now. He is friendly. This is Dirk. He's about 1.5 to 2 years old. He's a boy. We've got him down as a pit bull. He's what I would call a compact pit. He's about 41.5 pounds, just very solid, built low to the ground. And we were joking he wanted to be a beagle, I guess, in a previous life. He's got the tricolor markings. Very affectionate, very well-mannered, and believe it or not, this little guy was abandoned at our shelter. So the good news is he's here, and that's probably, you know, we'd rather him be here than left running at large somewhere in the county. But the unfortunate part is that when a dog like this comes in, being abandoned, we don't have any information. The person just dropped him and left. So we don't know what his history is, we don't know what he's used to, and we don't know if he's got any vet history, medical background. I'm not sure. Our intake process, we are 100% county tax funded. So our intake process includes the fact that we only take in animals from Frederick County. We also, if they're owner relinquished, we ask you for information. The more information we have about an animal, the better chances they have of being adopted. And the fact is that if you have an animal with an own history, so you know what they eat, you know if they've been around small children, if they get along with cats, if they escape, if they've been to obedience training, those are all known factors. Then you compare that to a stray where we have no information, as is the case with Dirk. So if you have a pet that you're relinquishing, please take a minute just to give us the information that we need to place these animals in the best homes possible. But with Dirk, he was left. He is certainly very active, affectionate. I think it's probably difficult to tell on TV, but we did some scraping. He's got something called Demodex, which is sort of normal for dogs, and we're just kind of, right now it's just in the form of a skin irritation that he's being treated for. But he's got a great personality, great temperament, overall very healthy. Prior to leaving here, we will have him neutered and microchipped. And again, if he's got an affectionate, high-level combination of activity level. So great dog. This is Dirk. This is one of our senior dogs. This is Roscoe. And if you've watched Pet Pals for a while, you know my affection for senior pets. Their personalities are established. What you see is what you get. So many times they've already got manners. They're pretty much house trained. Roscoe was turned in, he is 9 years old, was turned in because the landlord wouldn't allow him any longer, or the person was moving. It's kind of, sometimes folks tell us information and it's not quite clear. But Roscoe is a Dalmatian pit bull mix. Again, 9 years old. He's about 42 pounds, so he's pretty much the same size as Dirk. but he doesn't give the impression of being quite as solid. He's just a little more slender build. Very affectionate, well-mannered, has been here just about a couple of weeks, and coming to us, he has some senior normal, I guess considered normal medical issues. He does need a dental, and that's not unusual. And you've got a dog that's 9 years old, sometimes depending on their genetics, depending on their diet, just depending on a bunch of things, they might need some dental work. And I think sometimes with senior pets, that can be discouraging for potential adopters walking into what might be expensive. So we hope that's not the case with him. We certainly look forward to getting him adopted. We brought him up to speed on vaccines. He is already microchipped. He does have just a broken canine in the front, but that's, it doesn't hurt him. He certainly is eating well here, and as you can tell, he's just got a great personality. He's very quiet and well-mannered. So we're looking forward to getting him adopted. He does qualify for one of our senior pet adoption incentives, so that turns into a lower adoption fee for Roscoe. This little guy is a favorite at the shelter and with staff and volunteers. This is Peanut. He is one of our younger dogs. He's only about a year old, and we've got him down as a hound collie. I definitely see hound. The coloring leads me to believe there might be some German Shepherd recessive in there. He is obviously food motivated. He's got some good manners on board. He was brought to the shelter because his family chose to move and couldn't take him along. So sometimes we wonder if I don't know, if we need more education with landlords or more education with owners, or some program to encourage people maybe to not move. But regardless, Peanut is with us now as a result of his family deciding to move. He's about 47 pounds. We brought him up to speed on vaccines. He has been around infants and up. He seems to get along with everybody. He's not been around other dogs or cats prior to coming to the shelter. And since we're an open admission shelter, he has, in his tenure here, been around dogs, knows that cats exist, and he's kind of walked by the 2 pigs that we still have here at the shelter. So he's had a bit of socialization in his short time here. Again, he's about a year old, and he's very, very flexible. We do have him color-coded green pretty much for his age. He can be a little rambunctious, but overall you can see very gentle soul, very well-mannered given his age. We will make sure that he's neutered and microchipped prior to leaving here, and again, a good dog. So if you're looking for maybe a puppy that's not your typical 8-week-old puppy, Peanut would be a good choice. So this is another week at the shelter where most of our dogs have adoption applications, should be leaving soon. We don't have many available for adoption, which is a good thing. So we're showcasing extra cats this week, and Jade is one of them. Jade is one of my favorites. She has actually returned to shelter. She had been adopted about 5 months ago, and the family that adopted her had a male cat, and apparently the 2 cats didn't get along. So Jade is back with us. Part of our adoption contract states that if for some reason an adoption doesn't work out, we take responsibility for our animals for their whole entire lives. So at any point, if you adopt from us and need to return a pet, you can certainly do that. Jade is, once again, though, available for adoption. She's about 5 years old. She is front declawed, so while we don't advocate front declawing, that's already been done to her. So if you're looking for a front declawed cat, she'd be a good choice. She's a big girl. She's 12 pounds, 10 ounces. So that's a little bit on the heavy side. I would recommend, as typical with any cat, to measure her food. That's probably the best way to start with a pet. Just measure their food, figure out how much food, how many calories they're getting, and then talk to your veterinarian about maybe cutting back. She is already spayed. She's SNAP tested negative for feline leukemia and FIV. She's already microchipped, so she would be a relatively quick adoption. And at 5 years old, she does qualify for an adoption discount. And it doesn't mean that she's worth any less. It's just an incentive for folks that may be looking at younger cats, sometimes overlook the older ones. but 5 years old is not old at all. Cats can live an average of 15 years, depending on their lifestyle, depending on their health and other things. So she's got a long ways to go yet, and we're looking to place her in a great family. We're going to go ahead and take a short break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of our other cats that are available for adoption.
Get connected, get answers. Do you need help with things like finding a job or a doctor, getting health insurance, finding affordable childcare, or securing housing? Maybe you could use some help with solving a problem or need someone to listen. 211 Maryland can assist you with these and many other issues. 211 offers free and confidential information and referral services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and has access to 150 languages for non-English speakers. Learn more by visiting www.211md.org. Using transit has never been easier for smartphone users with the launch of the Transit EasyFare mobile ticketing app. Simply download the free application onto your Apple or Android device, and you'll have everything you need to plan your next ride right in the palm of your hand. Purchase passes quickly and securely, discover the right route, bus numbers, and departure times for your next ride using the Plan Your Trip feature, and stay informed about scheduling changes and other agency news by visiting Transit's Twitter feed. Plus, with visual validation, your phone never has to leave your hand. To learn more about how the Transit EasyFare app can work for you, visit frederickcountymd.gov/transit or call 301-600-2065.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
So this little girl is Sandy. She came to us as a stray from Sandalwood Court in Walkersville. She's about 8 to 9 years old, so another one of our seniors on the floor. She's your basic brown tabby. And again, coming in as a stray, we just don't know anything about her other than from her medical exam. We've gone ahead and brought her up to speed on vaccines. We can gauge her age by looking at her overall body condition and her teeth. Teeth are usually the one main factor that we look at to determine age range and then narrow down from there. She's about 9 pounds. Fortunately, she tested negative for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus. When you come to our shelter, any cat that's on the adoption floor already has tested negative for those 2 viruses. We do recommend that if you adopt from us, that you talk to your veterinarian. Sometimes feline leukemia can be sneaky. It can test negative on day 1 and then a month later or up to 3 months later can test positive. So that's definitely a conversation piece between you and your vet. With all of our adoptions, we do offer a free vet exam from a list of many, many participating vets in our community. So we are very appreciative that those veterinarians have offered to accept our adoption paperwork in exchange for a free exam, nose to tail, on the animals that we adopt out. Within 3 days of adoption, we ask that pet adopters call one of either their personal vet or one of our participating vets, and they might be the same ones, to make an exam. We do have a shelter vet here, but she's only here 12 hours a week, and not all of the animals get vet exams, especially if they're overall healthy and don't really need a vet. But this is Sandy. She is looking for a forever home and one of our seniors, and again qualifies for that senior discount. This little girl is not quite so little. This is Patches, and she is 13.5 pounds. So what we've done here is we measure her food, and I would recommend that that continue with anyone who is interested in adopting her. Animals being overweight have the same problems that people who are overweight. It puts pressure on their joints, on their spine. It's not good for their heart. They can develop secondary issues from just carrying around that extra weight. So she would ideally, I would estimate maybe 10 pounds would be a better weight for her, but certainly less than the 13.5 that she is now. We have brought her up to speed on vaccines. She does have moderate tartar on her teeth. Given the fact that she's 7 to 8 years old, that's not unusual. I think more and more people, pet owners, are becoming more literate about the dental needs of their pets in addition to the preventative vaccines and routine deworming. So dental disease is sometimes prevalent, especially in pets. People tend to not feed them good quality diets, or even if they do, genetics can play a part in creating or causing excessive dental disease. So she would do best with someone who understands cats, who understands the medical needs that they have. She was turned in for not getting along with the 2 other cats in the family, but she's lived with 2 cats, a dog, and children 10 years old and up. So she's got a good background and history with a family. But again, this is Patches, 7 to 8 years old, qualifies her for a senior discount. This is William. William came to us as a stray from Union Bridge. So if you are missing a cat, don't forget that even though the shelter is located in Frederick city limits, we take in animals from all over Frederick County. Some are brought to us by citizens that find strays. Some are brought to us by our animal control officers. If a citizen has found a stray pet, we respond to that. Others are turned in by owners. But William is a stray from Union Bridge, so if he looks familiar, if you're missing your cat, please check the shelter. We do have a shelter stray page online. We also encourage you to come in and visit, because your description of what your cat looks like, and especially with cats, dogs are a little more easy to describe, but cats, sometimes people get confused, and it can be confusing with the different color patterns versus colors versus breeds. So William is a domestic short hair. He is a brown tabby, and some people think that tabby is a breed. Tabby is actually a color pattern, and what makes him a tabby are the stripes that are going on there. He's got some black and brown mixed in, and of course he's got that distinctive white under his chin, and the very end part of his tail is entirely black. So he's got some very distinct markings. He has been here for a while. We went ahead and neutered him and microchipped him, so he would be another relatively quicker adoption. He's about 2 to 3 years old. He's lost a little bit of weight since he's been here, which is good. Again, we measure his food, but ideally he will be adopted to a family that can continue measuring his food and offer him some exercise in the form of going up and down stairs, and maybe leaping on furniture, and maybe playing around with other pets or family members. So again, this is William. He is a stray from Union Bridge. If he looks familiar, or if you're missing any other pet in your family, you want to make sure you check with the shelter. This is Angel. Angel is a female domestic short hair. She's about 1.5 years old, and she is one of our more distinctive looking cats on the floor. She's beautiful. She's got that snowy white fur. She's got one green eye, one blue eye. She is in one of the larger cages in our on our pet adoption floor, kind of to showcase her and show her off just a little bit. She came to us, and sometimes we feel bad for folks. We should always be a last resort. If you have a pet in your family, we ask that you please try to rehome it yourself. Place it with family members or friends or somebody that you can screen to make sure that they'll be taken care of. But certainly we are here as a county agency to help if you are unable to keep a pet. And in looking over Angel's profile, the owner states that they had too many cats, they just had a baby, and they just can't afford. So you can a lot of folks can identify with that life moment when everything is falling apart and finances are difficult, and the cat is just one extra thing that you just don't need in your family. So Angel is here now. Again, she's very young, about 1.5 years old. She's just about 8.5 pounds. We've brought her up to speed on vaccines. She did develop an upper respiratory infection during her tenure here so far. She's been here a little over a month, going on 2 months now. So we have treated her. One of the questions that comes up is, what do we provide for animals that come into our care? The first thing that we provide on a routine basis are routine preventatives in the form of vaccines and deworming. Certainly if they don't have preventative vaccines on board, they're more likely to develop an illness because now they are thrust into a population of lots of other animals and lots of different species. So we do the vaccines, and if they develop an upper respiratory infection, in the case of Angel, she arrived here with no vaccines on board. Even providing the preventative vaccine, it didn't kick in quickly enough prior to her capturing a virus. So we treated her for that. You can see that has resolved. Cat upper respiratory is similar to people. They end up with coughing, with sneezing, with nasal discharge. They're lethargic. They might stop eating. We offer them palliative treatments as far as giving them fluids, making sure they're kept warm, encouraging them with canned food that we warm up. So we go to, I would say, a lot of lengths compared to other shelters in trying to make sure that they get healthy again. So this is Angel. She is a great example of a cat that came in, no vaccines. We've treated her and she's all better now and just looking for a home that will keep her for the rest of her life. This is the last little girl we're going to take a look at today. This is Lilo. I'm guessing we named her after Lilo and Stitch, the cartoon. She's about 5 to 6 years old. Came to us as a stray from pretty close to the shelter on Willowdale. So if you're missing a cat, looking for a cat, if you know of your neighbor looking for a cat, if you see flyers in your neighborhood of pets that are missing, make sure that you encourage the folks that are missing pets to check at the shelter. We take in about 12 animals every single day. Last year we took in over 3,000 cats and kittens, and this year Lilo will be part of that population of strays that we've taken in. Again, about 5 to 6 years old, so she qualifies for an older cat discount, which is $20 off the adoption fee. Normally adoption fees for felines are $97.50. Covers getting them spayed, neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, dewormed, and any other medical care that they might need. With a cat that's 5 years old or older, up to 10, it's $20 off. So Lilo's adoption fee would be $77.50 for her adoption. She's about 6 pounds, 10 ounces. She did test negative for feline leukemia and FIV. We've brought her up to speed on vaccines. She does have a broken left upper canine, but that's not really causing her any concern. We do color code all of our animals, so if you've not been to our shelter before, or if you just need to revisit, we color code them as far as personality. So our blue animals are the ones that are lap cats, lap dogs. Green are the ones that have a little more energy, might be a little bit more shy, just require more work. Lilo is color-coded orange, meaning that she's sort of middle of the road. She's being very tolerant at the moment of being a lap cat and enjoying getting her 15 minutes of fame on TV, but she might have a little point where she gets tired of this and would prefer just to kind of roam around and see what's going on in the rest of the room. But again, this is Lilo. She's a stray. I really encourage people that if you're missing a pet, don't wait a couple of days. For strays, we hold strays for 5 days. That gives their owner the opportunity to come to the shelter and find them here. Unless there is other circumstances, if an animal is suffering, we may send them to a vet to get some insight as to whether we should, if it's humane to keep them for the 5 days or not. So as soon as you notice your pet's missing, you want to make sure that you at least contact us through a phone call and then follow up with a visit here to the shelter. So this is Lilo again. If you're looking for a nice older cat, she certainly is very agreeable to being a lap cat. And that's it for this week's Pet Pals. We always appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you've seen some pets that have gained your interest. If you're not looking to adopt, you can certainly share the information with friends and family. Have a great week, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.